Good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 live from the Voice of America in Washington on Tuesday, November 18th, 2014. And this is Live Talk. I'm Gibbs Dube.
And I'm Jonga Kandemiri.
Tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about the Zimbabwe media's coverage of ZANU-PF squabbles.
To join our discussion, phone us directly at 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back.
Live Talk goes out to Zimbabwe on our 909 meter wave frequency and on the 4930-5940 and 15455 kilohertz shortwave Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m.
On the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com or at www.voashona.com and at www.voindebele.com.
Was very contained by the Herald, by the Sunday Mail, very busy, and all media outlets that are owned by the government, because they've reduced themselves to be a mouthpiece of a faction in ZANU-PF.
Ini ndinokachika mazwa nezvirikutaurwa nebato sangano rinonzi MMPZ nekuti isu sebepanhau reHerald tiri kungonyora zviri kutaurika mazuva ano. Mutevedzeri wemutungamiri wenyika Mai Joyce Mujuru vari kupomerwa mhosva dzeuori, mhosva dzekuda kubvisa mutungamiri wenyika pachigaro. Zvinhu zviri kutaurwa
bona hani maphephandaba asekela uhulumende lawo kwathi state of media oHerald aboFsunday Mail bona hani bahlangothi olunye phakathi kwendaba ezenzakala ku ZANU-PF bona hani basekela thina ihlangothi lukaMnangagwa.
Thanks for joining us once again. You are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. This evening we are talking about the Zimbabwe media's role in the covering of the current factionalism gripping President Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF party.
According to the Media Monitoring Project of Zimbabwe, or MMPZ, the state media has compromised journalistic standards in covering the ZANU-PF squabbles as they are attacking Vice President Joyce Mujuru at will. The MMPZ says the independent media has given Ms. Mujuru a fair coverage.
Herald editor Caesar Zwai dismissed these claims today, saying they are covering unfolding events in the ruling party without malice or prejudice.
What do you think about the issue? If you wish to join us, please call us directly at 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back. The number again, 001-202-619-2077.
Yebo kambe Zulu lingalithola njani lapha likhona khona ngapho ke ngamakhaya thina ngapha lo Jonga ayisiphilile similo kwamagama. Udaba esikhuluma ngalo namhlanje sikhangela ukuthi kambe imisakazo lamaphephandaba ayenza njani nxa ekhangela kumbe ehlolisisa udaba lolu kumbe isithi ingxabangxoza ekubandla leZANU-PF. Banenge abantu abathi kungani okwenziwa ngamaphephandaba njengeHerald, kuzobuya iSunday Mail, kuzobuya iSunday News, kuzobuya la iChronicle khona ngale ke kobulayo. Bathi ingane abenzi kuhle ngoba kukhanya ngazani ke basekela uhlangothi olulodwa. Khonapho bathi icele engazani liyangena kakhulu emaphepheni lingena futhi ngobunandi ngokutsho kwabo yileli lisekelwa ekuthiwa likhokhelwa ngumnumzana ke uEmerson Mnangagwa. Bathi ke icele lika Nkosikazi Joyce Mujuru ngana litholi kahle ukuthi kungene khona ngala bafuna ukuthi kungena kuZulu
inzwike diwirayo.
So ke khonapho bathi kuyahlupha ngafuna ukuthi kusetshenzwa njengokuthi kulalokho phela kuthiwa i-public broadcaster bese kusuka le state controlled media khona ukuthi uyabe ule phephandaba elingani lihulumende phakathi. Bathi ngakho kumele kusetshenzwe ngohlonzi phela ukuthi wonke umuntu ujonge nje ngafika ethi ngicela ukukhuluma kwami. Bathi khuluma mnumzana. Lami nginje ngifike khona ngale ngithi ujongo ngazani kangimtholi kahle. Lami bathi khuluma Dube. So wena wabe ukukhulumile nami ngokukhulumile.
Yeah, 50-50.
Nine lo sikisi mfowethu. Uyabona?
Ndizvo zvongola tereri nhasi tiri kukurukura nyaya zviri kuitika mumakakatanwa ari mubato reZANU-PF, mabatirwo azviri kuitwa nedzinhepfenyuro pamwe nemapepanhau. Vamwe vari kunzi vanenge vane divira vari kutema vakarerekera sezvinozivikanwa Studio 7 kuti inotema isina divira rayakarerekera. Idemo rinotema risina kwararakarerekera. Asi hanzi mamwe matemo ari kutora mati Gibbs. Tanzwa Media Monitoring Project of Zimbabwe ishtaura kuti bepanhau reHerald bepanhau resunday mail nemamwe ari pasi pehurumende ane mativi anobva arakidza kuti isisi tiri kutsigira divi iri vasingazopa mukana rimwe divi zvikuru amai mujuru kuti vange vachizvidzivirira kana kuzvipindurira mumhosva dzavari kupomerwa. Asi tanzwawo zvakare mukana watapa kumutapi mupepeti mukuru webepanhau reherald vasizwa zvai vapiwa mukana pano pastudio 7 vakatsanangura kuti aiwa hatina divi ratinorerekera mukuita basa, tiri kutema tisina kwatakarerekera, asi kuti tiri kushayiwa mukana wekuti amai mujuru vange vachizvipindurira tinovatsvaga tichivashayiwa, kana tikaisa dzinhare hadzidzoke. Ndo zvikonzero zvapiwa, asi vazhinji vari kuchema kuti demo raramba rakarerekera, rakaramba rakadaro rinogona kuzotema munhu ari kutema wacho.
Yes, zvile ke umhleli wephephandaba leHerald mnumzana ke usiza zwaye sithi bona bazama ukuthi bamdinge phela unkosikazi Mjuru kodwa kabamtholi. Njalo kodwa bona lokho abakubhalayo bakubhala ngoba into abasitholayo. Nxa kubuya lapha umuntu angakhuluma bakufaka kunjalo. Ngokutsho kwakhe antsho kunjalo mfowethu. Yeah. So joining us tonight to discuss this issue with us is Mr. Gift Piri, who is a news editor at the Daily News. Mr. Piri, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening to you.
Thank you so much for joining us and stay on the line. We also have Mr. Matthew Takaona, who is a former chairman of the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists. Mr. Takaona, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. We'll start with you, Mr. Takaona. How do you assess the media in terms of its coverage, towards this unfolding ZANU-PF saga?
I would not want really to point fingers at any one publication and say it is doing wrong or it is doing the correct things. But the ethics of the profession are known. They are universal. There is no invention of the wheel. What I would say about the concerns really about news coverage in these issues that are unfolding in the ruling party is the hate speech really. Journalists can report on issues, they can make allegations as long as they have evidence to back up those allegations. But what is worrying is that even if they have those allegations, is the addition of hate speech, which has come into the Zimbabwean media from around 2000. It's quite disturbing. Hate speech has been a cause of conflicts around the world. They've really been solved from the media. Many conflicts, many dangerous conflicts have actually emanated from media coverage of issues. And we don't know where the hate speeches that we now see in the media will take us to. You carry hate speech by one person today, and if the other person who is at the receiving end of that hate speech deciding to hit back, sometimes you spark something that can eventually become violent. What we need to promote in Zimbabwe is peace. What we need to promote is harmony. What we need to promote is development. And this is not what I see in a lot of newspapers today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Takaona. Stay on the line. Vapiri, fungwa dzenyu panyaya tiri kukurukurai.
Well, ini ndingati ndoda kuzvitaurira sebepa rinhau reDaily News. Totaura neshona ndizvo?
Ye, taurai neshona.
Okay. Isusu tiri kungoita basa sezvazviri. We are reporting a very complex and fast-changing story. I think a political transition. So it's a contested zone, and inyaya irikuti nechei kukava, but because of the nature ye politics zirikuitika dzacho, kushaudwa kuri kuita navanhu. Ndanzwa zvangu ex-president weZambia achitaura nyaya yekuti there is a lot of hate speech. I think it's the nature of the politics. There is so much hate speech. And some of the things are so uncritical. Like I'll give you an example from today's event. And this is Trukuti madzimai ari kurwisana, and the other madzimai talks about the zvija zvomwe mudzimai. I think kana kusvika scaling this plumbing this depth is really sad, you see.
and as the media todini
ndomubvunzo wandanga kubvunza iwe
vakati vamai mujuru vakapfeka minisketi vane zvichika zvakafuta. Isu semedia how are we supposed to handle that?
Saka muri kuda here kuti vatakaona vapindure ipapo?
Ndikuda kuti vapindure ipapo.
Vatakaona tibatsirei?
Yeah, in between, I totally agree with theory that is a complex issue. It's also a complex probably of transition. I don't know whether it's a transition or what, but he says it's a complex issue, and I totally agree. But as journalists, we also need to exercise a sense of responsibility. You don't get carried away with... but sometimes, as we say, it's complex. Because at the same time, by totally covering what one person has said, you're actually exposing that person's character, which is important for the public to then make judgment about that person. Yes, they did, but sometimes also... We also have a culture where we respect our women, we protect our mothers and so forth. But then when you go to the extent of writing stories that then are so malicious about a mother, are so defamatory about somebody who is at the apex of the state, there's something totally wrong. There is a need... I know this is not emanating from the newsroom, but there is a need for those who are involved at the policy-making level for the media, to not only the media, even the state, to sit down and discuss these issues, get speech. Yes, consequences, and sometimes they can die. We can take this situation for granted and say they will just insult each other, they will besmirch each other, and it will end there. Sometimes it may never end there. It will get somewhere. This is something that we must avoid.
Can I just jump in there?
For a long time.
Go ahead.
But,
yes, please.
Go ahead, Mr. Piri.
Yes, I don't know. Is Takaona advocating for censorship?
Mr. Takaona?
It's not censorship as such, but responsibility is not censorship. Responsibility is responsibility of the consequences that can come out of your story. That's not censorship.
Of course.
And
so you are not advocating for censorship, but you are saying. I think that is already what. If you look at the narrative in the media, I think the media has been very responsible in the midst of a story in so much hate, in so much uncouthness. You understand? So the media has tried to censor, even filter out some of this atrocious, narrative coming out of our politics. It's really sad, but it's a discussion I think we should be done with the police. I don't know, but why do we have this nature of politics? It is so uncouth. Shandisa this coarse language. Shandisa in language is in a hunu, you understand? But these are people who name a lofty positions, high offices. And these are people who expect what Shandisa, decorum, but I think we are consumed with so much hate that anything that's just what someone going to. But then the media is covering this story, and it has to tell the story. It has also to profile the nature of the people who are inhabiting our politics. And the media has to give a faithful record of what transpired. But of course, I hear Takaona Nyarutora, speech. And trying to also moderate or tone down. I think that is what I'm reading from him. I think the media is already doing that. I think that you publish verbatim some of the things not already these political rallies. Of course, some of the stuff is being beamed on state TV. They are running my programs. So some people, I've heard some people are actually saying, no, I'm not going to TV because I'm disrespect. You understand? So these are some of the issues and it's really sad with the nature of our politics has descended to this atrocious level. But I think it's a discussion we need to have perhaps as a country. topakusvika kwese ikoko kuti toti madzimai anoshauta kusvika pakudaro. Of course we understand panoita market fight, but pane vanhuwo, you see, we expect some certain degree of self-restraint. But this is a problem in my politicians, not the media. My politicians are not going to tell, not the media.
But
the media is just reflecting what's happening now.
Mr. Piri, let me just throw a question in. The MMPZ is saying that some of these media houses are not doing enough to get a reaction from the other part.
Yeah, hello, can I come in there? Hello?
Yes.
Actually, if you look at the situation, I think there are two issues that you have raised here. Where is the problem? The media may not have a problem totally, but where I disagree with them is where the stories then become unbalanced.
Yes.
Where you emphasize on one side of the story, where your side is clear, is glaring to your readership, to your viewership, that you are supporting this side, no matter what. That is one problem that we have seen with the media. But in terms of coverage, as the team is saying, I think, yes, there is a need to exercise responsibility. To also a dilemma that we exercise that responsibility. We also want to expose the characters, political characters, for what they are, as is happening now. We see the people, for the politicians, for who they are because of their speeches. When we make a decision, probably in future, it might be election time, or it might be time to elect somebody to a more senior position. You know exactly what those people are made of because of the speeches that they've been making. And to know them, it is through the media coverage that is the media coverage about those people. And Gift is completely right by saying that there is also a need to expose these people to the reader, to the public for what they are. But at the same time, there's need. It's a dilemma that always
Excuse me, the MMPZ, who is it accusing of bias?
Mr. Piri, can you hold on a second? Mr. Piri.
Who is being accused of bias by the MMPZ?
The Herald, the Sunday Mail, and ZBC. And they also said...
those organizations should answer that question, isn't it?
Yes, that's why we brought in Mr. Zai during our news bulletin. He said, he gave his side of the story. He said they were failing to get a comment. He said they were failing to reach Ms. Mujuru for her side. But MMPZ praised the Newsday and Daily News. They are saying they are giving fair coverage of events.
Thank you very much. I think that's a fair assessment. Yes, I think there are accusations also which are untested and unproven that they are, perhaps a political class which is directing operations. These are accusations which we can't prove, which we don't know about. But look, issues are bias. I think that's at the leadership level. I think it's a question we need to put back to the people who are being accused of bias. I think there's been a furor also over this incredible, treason story against the VP. Those are very, very serious allegations, potentially with devastating consequences.
Yes, Mr. Piri, can you hold on for a second? Can you hold on for a second, Mr. Piri? We'll come back to you in just about a few seconds. And for those that have just joined us tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are talking about the Zimbabwe media coverage of ZANU-PF's squabbles. And our guests are Mr. Gift Piri, who is the news editor of the Daily News, and we've got Mr. Matthew Tekaona, former chairman of the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists. Now we are joined by Mr. Meli Dube, who is an acting director of Bulawayo Agenda. Mr. Dube, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, kids. Thanks for having me on the program.
Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Dube, we hear that there is a lot that is going on in Zimbabwe in terms of factionalism in ZANU-PF. And at the end of the day, we are focusing on the coverage of the media of these events. So at the end of the day, what is your take on what is happening in the media in terms of covering the ZANU-PF squabbles?
Okay, I think I've realized that the state-controlled media, your Herald, your Chronicle, your Sunday News, Sunday Mail, Patriot, and so forth, are basically clearly on a side that is seemingly not the side where the vice president is. There's a lot of vilification of the side or perceived side or real side, I don't know the inside issues of ZANU-PF, but that media has given us a feeling or even a perspective that ZANU-PF is very much deeply divided, and they've chosen a certain side, while the private media, your Standard, your Independent, your Daily News and others, are seemingly, I think, reporting a bit on the side of the vilified side. You would sometimes feel that maybe they are, of course, a bit fair in their reporting, but slightly slanted towards the victimized or the vilified side in ZANU-PF.
Nxa usukhangeleke ubona ngazani ngakwenziwani baba Dube ngombono wakho ngabenzani
kule abuse eningi kuloku nxa ngithi abuse ngithi kulokuhlukuluzeka okunengi okwamaZimbabweans ukuthi bayabhadala izimali zabo eziyizo ezincedisa engathi ngama-parastatal kumbe inkampani zikahulumende ezifana lalezi eziphatha ezokusakaza ezinjengabo ZBC lama newspaper lani okuthiwa state controlled. Siyakwazi ukuthi enye yakhona imali ivelela kukhulumende, of course lanxa ezinye zisenza imali siyakwazi ezinjengabo ZBC kudala zagcina ukwenza into ethiwa i-profit, kodwa zilokhu ziqhubeka zibhala kakhulukazi ngalokho okwenzakala kuZANU, njalo zisetshenziswa ukuthethisa lokuthethisana lokufundisa abantu abethu inhlamba labanawethu. Okumele ukuthi ngakwenzakala ukuthi hathi istate phela nohulumende izinto ezimbili okumele zehlukane. Kulezinto ezelizwe ezingasozi kabani lobani wale nanga obusayo okumele zihlale zimsulwa njalo ziseva engathi ngumuntu wonke, hathi ukuba ngeze party. So okwenzakalayo ukuthi lezi zinto sezathathwa over, zathathwa ngabantu beparty, khathesi sezithathwa over futhi ngabantu bama-faction athize kuleyo party.
Yes, akuzakhuluma baba Dube ngayindawo othi ke sithi sikhuluma ukuthi besithini lapho Dube. So I think he's raising a point of saying that it's very important that in fact there's no distinction between the state and the party. Maybe that's where the problem is, according to him. You know? Yeah.
Okay. I will come back to you. Maybe you will explain, or one of our guests will explain that.
That's right.
But tine muteereri Dr. Chikwara, makadi Dr. Chikwara.
Makadi baba.
Ndakasimba ndagona here kudaidza zita radoctor iri.
Chikwavarara.
Oh, Chikwavarara.
Yeah.
Ndino urombo nekuti ndaritadza kuridaidza zvakanaka, asi Chikwavarara izvezvi ndagona ndipei maki yangu. Tipei zviri kukurukurwa izvi pfungwa dzenyu.
Well, thank you very much for having me. But I think the issue of the daily ZBC, Sunday Mail, and the Zimbabweans wanted a redress for a long time now. So it has come at the right time where the issue has been discussed in a ZANU-PF forum, just for not a balanced reporting and at the professional dispensation of media standards. So my good Edgar, my good friend Caesar, was just saying we are doing our best to this and that. So my good friend is working under an order which is written on the wall for everyone to see. The order is coming from the government, the order is coming from the ZANU-PF, the order is coming from the Minister of Information, which is Professor Jonathan Moyo. Everyone knows that the situation right now, my good friend there, is just under a situation that he could even control himself. He's a professional man, for that matter. If a professional man is being used just to divert or to subvert,
the will of the people, then that's the problem. We need professionals who are constructive to our national interests, who are constructive to our national arguments, so that we can have a proper and professional reporting from these state-controlled media houses. My good friend there, you should understand that the people, they need transparent and straightforward reporting, because it's only the truth that they read in the newspapers they use to have developmental systems to the country. We cannot have a situation where a professional man who says that he is masters in media studies, this and that, reporting lies and talking lies and telling lies to the nation. We can't have a situation like that. So my good friend says I must be honorable enough to tell the nation the truth, exactly what is happening. That's my own contribution for the day. I thank you so much.
Dr. Chikwavarara, kana muchine mukana niko kubvunza mibvunzo mumwe chete. Vazvai vataura kuti tiri kuedza nepose patinokwanisa napo kuti tinge tichiwanawo divi ramai mujuru, asi havasi kubatika.
According to the history yatinayo muZimbabwe ndeyekuti those people in the market media houses, they get information from their masters, and those masters are maybe right now I think the minister from information. I don't think it's true what he's saying. He has tried to get Mayamjuru to run his side of the story. But right now he's telling that no, we tried our best. But what best did he say right now? What we have tried by all our best to Mayamjuru. He's telling me this thing through the media. You see? So right now, because he is a man of lies, and I don't trust him, and he is not trusted in any way because he belongs to the media house that has printed lies in the nation for so many years.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chikwavarara.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. So I think Mr. Matthew Takaona had requested to be with us for only 10 minutes. I think we've dragged him for about 15 and a half minutes now. Mr. Takaona, thanks for being with us, and your last word, please, today.
Thank you. What I want to say to fellow professionals is that there is need, as much as possible, to stick to the ethics of the profession. They are there not by accident, but this is a century of experience from journalists in the States, and the ethics are there to guide journalists so that we avoid tragedies like conflicts, violence, and so forth. So really, I know there is undue influence from politicians from time to time, but there is really also a need for journalists to use their conscience and use their ethics and ensure that they give people fair coverage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takaona. We hope you are going to have a lovely evening, eh?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And for Mr. Melitube and Mr. Gift Piri, can you stay on the line? And now we wish to say goodbye to our radio listeners. And for those with access to the internet, you can visit us at www.voazimbabwe.com. This is Gibbs Dube in Washington, D.C. Stay tuned, Zimbabwe.
And I'm Jonga Kandemiri.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. Tonight on LiveTalk, we are talking about the role of the Zimbabwe media in covering ZANU-PF squabbles. And our guests are Mr. Meli Dube, who is the acting director of Bula Agenda, and Mr. Gift Piri, news editor of the Daily News. And I hope we had a caller, or our caller is gone now.
The caller is gone, but tinogona kunge tichienderera mberi nehurukuro nokuti tanzwa mumwe wevatabva kutaura nawo yezvinezvi parunhare vafona Dr. Chikwawarara vane nyaya dzavasimudza dzakati kuti zvokuti tinogona kukumbira vapiri kuti tinzwe kuti vanoti nemashoko asimudzwa nemutauri atabva kutaura naye parunhare anga achitaura nyaya dzekuti dzimwe nguva unotongoti ukabata rimwe bepa unobva watongoziva nechekare kuti haiwa zviri kutaurwa mubepa iri zvakamira zvakadai pane mukuru atozvinyora kuti toda kuti zvinge zvichibuda izvi.
So I'm told that we've lost Mr. Perry temporarily. Yeah, temporarily. So I think we've got a problem with our lines, but we still have Mr. Meli Dube. Maybe you can pose that question again to him.
In Sindebele.
Yo, ngesindebele. Uthi ngimbuze ngesindebele. Yeah, uthi ngimbuze ngesindebele. Ujongo befuna ukuzama ngesindebele manje ngiyesaba ukuthi uzamane angenzele okunye lapha. Umhlaba umangali yabo. So ke ngase sigangeleke okade ukukhulunywa ngumnumzana uTakawona. Ukhulume wathi kumele ukuthi inkokheli yeZimbabwe ihlale phansi babaTube. Ingahlala phansi khona mpana kucatsha ngesibilo kuzwa ukuthi khonoko kubhalwayo ukuthi hate speech kungenziwani. Kambe kungenziwa mbani khonoko? Mbani ongakusungula khonoko?
Empeleni sibili mfoka Dube. Sesihlale iminyaka leminyaka sathatha kusukela kubo Smith sa inherita hate speech. Sabuya labo abasikhululayo bangena kuhulumende bathini behluleka ukwakha isizwe esisodwa baqhubeka nge-hate speech baqalisa ukuthethisana baqalisa ukubizana ngamagama baqalisa ukuthi phansi ngozibani baqalisa ukulwisana okunye okumangalisayo esikwaziyo after independence and okwenzakalayo ukuthi alabo bantu balokho beyibo abaphetheyo la khathesi and banjalo vele bona osokulusizi nje ukuthi sokungena la kule intanga encane sokungena la kwamanye amaphathi afonywa kathesi sokungena la kwabanye abantu abasesebatsha ngoba yibo bodwa bukhokhela ababubonileyo kakula muntu esingafunda kuye kulusizi kakhulukazi. So empeleni I think i-generation eyethu thina ekade singakwenzi lokho kumbe singazalwanga ngesikhathi sabe singaphilanga labo sokumele sibone ukuthi siyathatha unyawo olutsha olungafani lolwabo and siqalise ukwenza izinto ngendlela ehlukeneyo.
Yeah, nxa ungafaka nje ngesikiyopho ukuthi cha nje kancane khona I think you are raising very important issues there.
I think there's been a passing on of the culture of hate speech. There's been a political culture of intolerance that has been passed down to, I think, to us or to younger people from those who were in the liberation war. Maybe they saw it from the Smith regime. They also thought that's the way of treating your enemy, being or someone who is different from you, or someone who seeks to be different or holds a different opinion, that you have to be so intolerant to a fight. If you give our president even 5 minutes on the podium, he doesn't leave the podium without saying bad things about other people and insulting actually other people. And I think that's what people have defined as a model for a strong leader. So our role models, our political role models, have been very, very, very much on the worst side, on the bad side, and we have learned. Regrettably, I think, and also passed on this kind of culture. So there has to be that kind of paradigm shift from this other new generation that is coming in to take a different direction.
Thank you, Mr. Dube. Stay on the line. Tinem Tereri Mkoma Joe, Variku South Africa. How are you, my brother?
I'm fine, Baba.
Muri kutaura nerurimi rwupi ndanzwa kuti vazho vanogona rwese runotaurwa muZimbabwe?
Ndichazama kutaura nechishona nechirungu kana zvonetsa.
Ndipei pfungwa dzenyu ndidzipa kuriro kune vateereri vedu nevari kuona paintaneti pari zvino.
Maita basa baba ndachida kutaura kuti pane zvinhu zviri kuti media inofana kunge ichitibatsira kudevhelopa nyika. Kana tikatarisa panews tikatarisa nhau tione kuti tiri kuenda mberi sei. Panyaya iyi ndikuona kuti ava vakuru vanoti vakambozamawo kufonera Mamjuru. Pari zvino Mamjuru vanofana kunge vanyarara.
because hazvibatsiri kuti vaizovakontakta ivo vatongonyora zvakashata pamusoro pavo. Ende pachivanhu chedu ka murume anodzorwa nemukadzi, mukadzi achidzorwa nemurume, hazvichanyatsorwisisika kuti president vava kuita sei vari kurega mudzimai achituka mamwe madzimai zvakadaro. Amai venyika taifanira kuti varimekedze zvakanaka, vachiratidzawo kuti madzimai kuti no inonzi language kana vachitauravo yakamira sei. So vanhu vemedia kana vachinyora, I think it's better to save words, which they call editing. Isu ida hatina kuenda kuchikoro zvakanyanya-nyanya. Saivo vanofanira kunge vachiziva kuti kana vachiedita so that nhau dzinobuda dziri constructive zvichiita kuti nyika ienderere mberi.
Thank you so much Mukoma Zhou. Tine mumwe muteereri ari parunhare, Mukoma Machingura vari kuZimbabwe. Maswera sei?
Taswera hedu, maswera seiwo?
Aiwa taswera isu. Nyaya iri mudariro ndiyoyu, tipeiwo pfungwa dzenyu. Pari kudiwa vanogona kutakanutsa.
Chokwadi zvinhu zvinorwadza. Ini hatisine zvedu kunyanya nezviri kuitika kuZANU kuti zvii, nekuti vakanguva vachitanga vachimbonyora vakadaro vanhu vevi vanonzi vestate ava. But maitiro avari kuita vane tema vachingotemera one side kuti muti uwire kusaidi rimwe chete. Saka izvo zviri kuitika zvacho zvinotiratidza kuti haisisiri state media sezvavanotaura vachiita, inotova rimwe bairi ndeZANU kuti yakarerekera kuna vapurezidendi kuti chataurwa napurezidendi chinzi chakanaka kunyange chichidzosera nyika kumashure.
Saka imi zvii zvamungakurudzira nemukana wamawanawo wekuti vana veZimbabwe vanga vachikunzwaiwo?
Ndatiti ivo kana vakateerera vese dena vanyora navo sedzadziri vasingarerekeri masaidi sezvinoita studio 7. Vave vanhu vanotaura zvazviri chaizvo vachigadzirisawo panenge pachikanganisika, kwete kuti nepareswa munhu unenge areswa wonzi wanatsa, unenge wanatsa nekuti hadikamwi wonzi wakashata. Zvinonga zvingaita kuti nyika yedu inde mberi. Zvikaramba zvakaita zvezviri handioni zvakanaka, nokuti zvinomutsa hasha zvokuti hazvizokashamadzi kuti tizotemi vanhu vazobatirana matemo mangwana.
Ndizvozvo maita basa zvikuru vaMachingura.
Tinotenda.
Murara zvakanaka Gibbs.
Utini Machingura?
VaMachingura vari kuti dai pagarwa pasi pagadziriswa nyaya iyi. People should sit down to come up with solutions to make sure that this is not going to happen again, because these people that are saying they are failing to get a comment from Ms. Mujuru, from the way things are coming out, it doesn't show that they have been trying. Even if they were trying, people won't believe them that they were trying. So he is urging those in authority, in high authority, to make sure that this issue is, they sit down, discuss it, and come up with a solution that will make sure that even those coming later will have a fine way of doing things. Because I remember Mr. Dube saying that maybe it's what we inherited from Smith that came to us during independence, and then it's going down to even political parties. They are doing the same thing, and I think this should be ironed out, not only by the government, but even political parties and individuals.
Now, let's get to Mr. Gift Piri. I think we've got him on the line. We lost him for a while. Now, Mr. Piri, are you still on the line now?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much. Now, tell us here, if you actually try to avoid this hate speech, I guess you may miss a scoop, right? And what happens in the newsroom? Can you cover a story without that kind of scoop that at times becomes, on the fence, You see what I'm talking about?
Yes, my brother, actually we do a lot of moderation. Every day is a judgment. It's a serious judgment call. You understand? You can't publish it. You understand? Because the language is so coarse and difficult. I get even radio. It's not only
yes.
But this is the politicians they do. And this is what they are saying. You understand? There is so much hate speech, there is so much hatred in the discourse here, and it's really sad. You understand? But it has become so entrenched. Sometimes they don't paraphrase because the direct quote
yes.
So every day is a serious judgment called my political stories. Wow. But funny enough, the other sections, the news. For instance, I think there's also a bit of that kind of court language also for sport. And but you don't have that kind of language for business. In business news, you've got a lot of decorum, even in the law practice. And it's difficulty in politics, is it the scam of this earth? Without any form of accountability. And I tell you, you understand, opponent, you understand? There is so much hatred and so much advocacy, violence, opponent, you understand? So there's toxic politics, there's a lot of toxic politics. And this moderation is becoming more synonymous in the stories of politics. Every day my editors, we try to publish it. We are a family paper. The parado no venga and this. The parado no venga I think I know reasons because that's not what we want to teach our children. But this is what is being said in my political rallies, and do you understand? So those are this is a discussion which must start right from. Of course, we understand the people, whether you call it a faction or a group or whatever it is, these people are going to push out. They are losing patronage, benefits of office, status, power, wealth, impunity as this factionalism is taking its toll, you understand? So it's a very, 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 very contested zone, and in my motion,
yeah, thank you very much. We'll come back to
this is so the media now to tell this story. You see, and also to stick to our mission values. And this is both as a news, but you know my mission values and this is a family paper in grade 3. And this is a Kirungo, and this is.
Yes, we understand you, Mr. Piri.
I understand that the environment.
Yeah.
But I think we also have a responsibility to our readers. But the politics is and the way the language we are using, it's so toxic.
Rambai muri parunare vapiri navadhube tinodzoka kwamuri yezvezvi. Tine mumwe muteereri mukoma Joseph wari kuSouth Africa. Mukoma Joseph makadi?
Tirinane makari ndivajonga here.
Ndivajonga kuri sei ikoko?
Makari iko mukuru wangu.
Mukuru ndimi.
Ndovara ndageka pastudio 7 ndakambenge ndiri mudondo mandandisingaizwi umu.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru ukaona munhu anomboti akambofamba akadzoka anosvikofukura paakasiya afuchira kuti ndakasiya ndaviga studio 7 apa oibvujunyura ndo vateereri chaivo. Rambai makadaro tinotenda zvikuru.
Yoga zvefu studio inototitaurira chokwadi iyoyi.
Chimiwo chiishandisaiwo muchipo chokwadi chenyu kuvana veZimbabwe nhasi vanzwe sezvo mawana mukana kudai.
Chokwadi changu panyaya iri kuitika pavatori venhawa vari pasi pehurumende vemanewspaper vemapepa nhau kusanganisira naiyo ZPC yedu. Vanhu vangatarisire zvavo kuti kwanzi kana panyaya dzakaita dziri kutaurwa sedzamai mujuru kuti mai mujuru akashata sei kana kuita sei, hazvigoni kuti vashandi vose vari kushanda mustudio yekuZBC kana munews dzeHerald kuti vataure zvinopesana neZANU-PF, nokuti vachipinda mabasa imomo mapindira vakaita vakapinda nokuda kwezvido zveZANU-PF. Saka hazvisi zvakaita kuti vataure nyaya idzi dzekusikira zvinhu zvanzi mugavhumenti mapinda vanhu vanoita kuti munhu wese asunungukirwe nekutaura zvinhu zvakamurerukira. Chechipiri kuna avo mai vedu mai purezidendi avo kungoti hatizozive zvedu sevana vadoko nenyaya yokuti ivo pachavo vaifanirwa kutoremekedza amai mujuru, nekuti amai mujuru kubva kuvanhu vese pati dzese dzakasiyana siyana tinovaremekedza, uye mhosva yavari kutaura kuti vane mhosva dzavakaita dzeuori, haithingi kuti vaifanirwa kunge vakavavheta munguva yacho iye vasati vaivaisa pachigaro. Mhosva dzavaa kuzoona dzina mai mujuru pari zvino ndedzipi mhosva dzacho dzavari kuti mai mujuru vane mhosva, kunze kwokuti vari kutsvaga chete kuti vavadzinge kuti ivo mai mugabe vaende pachigaro. Hationi kuti sokuti mai mujuru vane mhosva.
Asi manzwiro atiri kuita mukoma Joseph, hatisati tanzwa amai mugabe vachinzi vari kuti vari kuda kuenda pachigaro.
Chiripo ndechekuti mazuva akapfuura taimbonzwa manzwi avo achiti kwanzi kudeura, inini ngatodeura ropa richiti kuti dini tichitsvagawo nemumafoni umu zvichitaurika saizvozvo. Saka munhu kana achitaura zvinhu zvakadaro kurwira kugara pachigaro. Saka tinoona kuti magariro acho magariro okuda kuti munhu anake kugara pachigaro nokuda kwezita roumwe munhu. Ene vanga vachida kuita munhu wakanaka ane nzira dzakanaka dzisina kuipa sedzatinongoona dzinoita vamwe vatisingagoni hedu kutaura nemazita vanga vakuru. Vaifanirwa kuzvimirira pachavo kuti kana vachipinda pachigaro vachishida vapinde vasingambonyongodzi zita remunhu, nokuti avo amai ava tinoti varemekedza kuti chero vemapati chaiwo anoopodza ZANU-PF tinotovakudza nokuti ndo munhukadzi wega akasimba kubva muhistory yatinozivawo kubva tiri vadiki.
Thank you so much mukoma Joseph.
Takuenda panyaya yokuti ivo kana vachiita kuvhiringidza munhu wakaita samai mujuru ndo iye inonzi vakadzikurudzirana, ivo vakuparadza umwe mukadzi, asi zvinonzi vakadzikurudzirana imindi pazvigaro zvepamusoro mese. Ivo vakuda kubvisa umwe mukadzi kuti vagosara ivo vari hwani chete, saka vakadzi vanowanda sei imomo.
Aiwa, tinotenda zvikuru. Ndofunga ishoko ratambirwa navanhu vakawanda rokuti madzimai anofanira kunge achitobatsirana kusimudzirana, nokuti tinonzwa kuti mapoka akawanda muZimbabwe haasati akwanisa kunge achisvitsa pane inonzi 50-50 panyaya dzegender equality. Apa ndo unenge uri mukana yavanofanira kunge vachiita iyoyo.
Zvinezvi mukatarisa ivo mazidhara akazara mugavhmendi haana tsitsi semadzimai, pamwe tingadai zvitakatogarawo zviri nane nokuda kwevakadzi vane tsitsi kupfuura isu vanhurume.
Asi vanhurume munonovhotawo zvii zvamuri kuitawo kana manovhotawo mukuti munge muchibatsirawo madzimai akaenda pazvigaro, ngoti idii mutobva tapa mukana kune mumwe muteereri.
Ndokunge madzimai acho achifanirwa kunge atanga kubatana pasina kuita zvavari kuita, zvokuti unotanga kuvhirikidza umwe akatanga kupa chigaro chinhambo chokuti wondotsvaga maideas kune uya toita sei kuti madzimai tiwande uye tigare tese pazvigaro, because havangarwiri chigaro chemunhu umwe. Ivo vachifanirwa kutsvaga zvigaro, nefunga zvigaro zvemugavhmendi zvakawanda chose, vaifanirwa kutsvaga chimwe dise chimwe chatatakurwa kuti ndivo vanga vakunzi munyori wakaita sei kusidii reZANU-PF.
Thank you so much mukoma Joseph. Rambai muchiteerera Studio 7. Tinotenda zvikuru Gibbs.
masingabuya kuwe baba Dube, kumbe siqale sime mbijana sibale silakho sibesiwa kubaba lo osecingweni sibe sesingena sibone singenza njani. First of all, on Facebook we've got some messages that are coming in, and one of the messages is from Laxan, who writes, "For now I don't know what a puppet state is, but after the ZANU-PF Congress I'll tell you. Criticizing the first family is extremely treasonous." Then we've got Mr. Mnaki, who writes, "I don't like what the first family is doing. They are turning the country into a village." Let me stop there.
We have some messages from our WhatsApp, and it's the first one is from Michael, who says the people of Zimbabwe must wake up. All those asking Mai Mujuru to resign must tell everyone to resign, including President Mugabe himself. These people have no clue to revive the country. Now they are dividing than unifying them. On the media houses, special government controlled, they destroy the country with propaganda. When shall they give people proper news and the way forward on our country? Then another listener, Nuntuko, who says that the private media must not be biased too and not take sides. I think those are the two that I have at the moment.
Now let's go to Mr. Meli Dube. Are you still on the line? Baba Dube ukona Meli Dube ukona kwenye?
Hello. Yes, I'm on the line.
Ngasukhangele ke Baba Dube kambe ke intatheli izindaba zingabhala njani? Kumbe zikhulume njani emsakazweni? Zingakhulumi khona okukhulunywa ngabantu. Kambe akubacebise benzeni la?
Silokunanzelela ukuthi abentatheli izindaba labo balomlando wokwakha isizwe. Kodwa bokusenzakala ukuthi siyananzelela ukuthi imedia yethu njalo nje njengabantu bonke nje eZimbabwe kungaba imedia kungaba ngama-academics abantu okuthiwa bafundile kungaba ngabantu bazamabhizimusi kungaba ngobani ungabaqamba bonke baqede silokunanzelela ukuthi iningi labo balawulwa kakhulu ngezopolitiki akula muntu ongamuntu kuthiwa uprofessional even nxa ukhangela kumbe nguminister kumbe nguzibani bonke abantu basebenzela iparty kumbe ibandla thize endasikaze sikwazi ukuthi kuthiwa kule media esingathi ikayinyatheli ikhangelise inyawo zayo engxenye ku-direction yokusupporta ibandla thize so ngingabacebisa ukuthi mina okuqakathekileyo kakhulukazi especially private media le esingathi kayicontrolwa iZANU-PF government kuyabe kumele ukuthi hayi ibhale izinto ezakhayo ezizo esingathi zilangathi zimele zakhe isizwe ukwenzela ukuthi abantu abo bajayele ukuthi ngona kanti vele media responsibility yabo ngiyakwazi kade sibathatheka ngoba labo bafuna ukuthengisa amaphepha akula muntu ongathenga iphepha eZimbabwe elikhuluma ngokuthi inkomo zifuywa njani kumbe kutheni kwathina ezinye izitori eziright kule phepha lapha linye lithi umjuru ukuthiwa kule tape yakhe enqunu begqoka isiketi esifitshane kumbe kunjani so abantu labo sebaze bakujayela ukuthi kanti vele umuzi okumele bakulalele yikuphi izinto nje ezingelamsebenzi ezokuphongulandelela ukuthi first family ithethisana njani omama labana abanyonkolozanayo sebekugcwalise bakwenza unyonkolozana kwaba indaba elizwe lonke ngakho ke sonke sokumele sithona sivukele ukudinga amaphepha sibala ngokuthi namhla uGrace utheni namhla lwana wathini namhla wathini okungela ngitsho lamsebenzi so ukucebisa okukhulu ukuthi hayi kabahloniphe uZulu njalo kabahlomise uZulu ukuthi sizwe sakhe kuhla ikhona ukuphongulandelela abantu abakhuluma into ezingelamsebenzi.
Yes, Mr. Dube is saying that basically the papers and radio stations should actually respect the nation. You know, they should not publish some of these things that are not, good for the public. And then I think we've got a caller. His name is Mr. Dunlop. Mr. Dunlop, good evening and welcome to the program. Are you on the line, Mr. Dunlop?
Yes, I'm on the line, sir. Thank you for having me on the program.
Good. It's good that you are on the line now. So briefly, because our time is running out, what is your take on what we are talking about today?
All right. Actually, I'm surprised because I've been listening to Studio 7 from the time when you were having the news bulletin, and I actually had the chance to listen to what the editor or so of the Sun, is it the Sunday Mail or the Herald? I don't know. Is it the Herald?
Yeah, the Herald, yes.
Fine. It's like, I'm so much surprised because I understand he's the editor, and at one point he said he's learned, he has a master's in something. So now I'm surprised whether that master's he got it by default or by design, because you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that the state-controlled media in Zimbabwe is reporting its news biased on one side. Because, okay, in the first place, if they say there's factionalism, right? Where there is as long as they say factionalism, what I understand is that there are two sides. It's like you are saying there's a difference. When we were at school, we were told that if you want to show that there is a difference, you have to describe two things, A and B. Right? You can get me correct?
Yes.
Right. And now, if they are talking of factionalism and they are just talking about one faction and talking about it in a negative manner, then I don't understand if that editor can have the audacity to come on air and say they want the media monitoring project of Zimbabwe to come and show them the modalities which they use to come up with the with the point that they are being biased, and yet it's perfect to see that the state-controlled media in Zimbabwe is biased. Let me conclude with an example here. Right with me, I have the Sunday Mail copy of 19 October, right, 2014, right? And the headline, it says, VP Mujuru's date with destiny, right? And on the right, a highlighted column, it says, what are her options after the expose? Right? Fine. Right. The little knowledge that I have, though I'm not as learned as the editor of the Herald, but the little knowledge that I have, it tells me that if you use the word expose, right, to expose, an exposure, it's a revelation of something discreditable, just to expose. Okay, how did they come to know that the VP has been exposed when it has not been proven, right, in any manner that she has been exposed or she has committed this and that? You see now, and then the Herald editor can get the audacity to say,
thank you so much. Yes. No, thank you so much, Mr. Dunlop. We hear you. We will try by all means to go back to Mr. Zwai and talk to him again and ask him exactly some of these issues. And the Sunday Mail too. We'll ask them.
Yes, I just wanted to throw one question to Mr. Gift Piri.
Oh, before that, we've got a caller that is waiting. Yes.
Go ahead.
Let's get a caller. Mr. Ngaba, kunjani baba?
Ngiyaphila baba kunjani?
Asiphile kakhulu. Sorry sikumisa kakhulu. Sesilemzuzu emlutshwane kakhulu. Sizakufonela futhi kusasa kodwa qhubeka baba.
Okay, thina njengezizalwane zaseZimbabwe zikhathazekile kakhulu ngemedia yasekhaya. Ngicabanga ukuthi njoba sila eSouth Africa, imedia yasekhaya ayakhi ilizwe, iyalidivide ngoba manje mabe bekhuluma kabi ngomunye umuntu bemhlambalaza, thina esibalala amaphepha thina sesingasazi ukuthi iqiniso yiliphi. Yabo.
Yes, siyakuzwa kakhulu ke. Kusasa ke ngiyakuthembisa kusasa siyakufonela futhi ungene ehlelweni because lamhla isikhathi sasingane sesitshayile. Otherwise sibongile kakhulu baba. Sibongile. So what he's saying is that the media in Zimbabwe is actually destroying the country.
Let's hear it from Mr. Gift Piri, because there's one caller who raised the issue of selling papers, stories that sell the newspaper. Mr. Piri, can you respond to that?
Well, newspapers are businesses. Of course, newspapers need to sell as many copies as possible so that we make money. I think there is the world over, that's how it is. It's a business, yes. There is a business model which we are following, but at the same time, journalism is rules, is ethics, is rules of the game. You follow those rules, you stick to the rules, and if there's an opportunity to make money, you make money.
But ethics.
Ethics. Mr. Tube, your last word. Very brief. Mr. Tube, are you there? Mr. Mel Tube, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Your last word, please. Just briefly.
Yeah, I think the media should desist from this laziness that has sort of crept into the profession, where they report in this manner, which is known as the minister said. I think there are a lot of people who talk to such issues. The minister said, and nothing beyond that. You can tell that they are not researching. They are only bent on sensationalism. They are simply waiting to pounce on the hate language.
Time is up, Mr. Tube. Sorry. We have to cut you there. Sorry, Mr. Tube. Sorry, we're out of time and we have to leave it there. We thank our guests this evening, Mr. Mary Tube, who is the acting director of Blue Agenda, Mr. Gift Piri, news editor, The Daily News, and Mr. Matthew Takaona, the former chairman of the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists. We also thank all our callers and viewers and everyone in Zimbabwe and elsewhere. Signing off is Gift Tube in Washington, D.C. Good night.
And I'm Jonga Kandemiri, hoping you stay well until we meet again here on Studio 7 Live Talk.